And today we're going to be talking about the leadership. Leadership is an inside job, okay? And I am so honored. Thank you very much, Rachel. We appreciate you as well. Thank you. Um, so I'm honored to have Monique Renee here with me, okay? I'm going to first start off by introducing myself. Margaret Williams, the author of the Empowered Leader publication. I help women who have been marginalized elevate their voices, stop surviving power systems, and start leading with freedom, influence, and authority. And Monique Renee, she is a spiritual mentor and intuitive strategist who specialize in blending ancient wisdom with modern leadership practices. She is the creator of the Flow Frequency Collective and focuses on guiding women leaders and entrepreneurs towards clarity, peace, and aligned success. There's so much more that I could say about Monique Renee. Okay, some of her practices include astrology, feng shui, okay, tarot and oracle, ritual, and mindfulness. And so I'm going to give this opportunity to Monique Renee to talk further about herself, how she came to Substack, talk about your leadership journey, and the other things we came here to discuss today.
Thank
Thank you so much.
you. Thank you, Margaret. And I'm so honored for the invitation to be here and to share with your community. And I can't wait to share this with my community as well. Gosh, my journey, it's been a long one. To kind of make it simple, I as a young college graduate, when I went into the work world, I had this Pollyanna idea of what working in the workplace would feel like, what leadership would feel like. And it was a slap in the face, it was a slap in the face. And I realized that there are so many toxic environments out there, toxic for the leaders themselves, but also toxic for everyone around them. And what ended up happening to me is that I became sick. My body became sick. And I didn't realize until after I had left a certain workplace that it was the toxic environment that made me sick, because the very next day my illness went away. And it was the biggest aha moment I've ever had in my life. Now, I didn't jump into leadership immediately. I was in public relations. I loved my job and what I was doing and building my career. But later on, when I did have the opportunity to work for who I believe is one of the best leaders I've ever worked for, and she truly embodied what leadership is all about, that's when I said, this is what I want to get into now. I want to support others in their leadership journey, in their healing journey. I also recognize that I allowed myself to get sick, right? So what's our power in this whole
Okay.
process, right? Not giving away our
Yes.
power. And so I started that trajectory of becoming a leadership coach. Um, and I've been a deeply spiritual, mystical person all my life. I've taught myself many different practices since I was a child, including astrology, including feng shui. And I've just gone deeper and deeper into those spiritual practices, so that I can bring that wisdom of healing and empowerment, to use your language, to our journey as leaders. So
Now, it was a couple of things that I want to make mention of. One of the things that you said that you didn't become a leader until you took that position. I don't see it that way. You have always been a leader,
Oh,
even
thank
as a
you.
child, even
What
as
I
a child.
meant, thank you. What I meant is that I didn't jump into the field of leadership immediately.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I'm with
Okay.
you. My leadership perspective is we're all leaders. The question is, are we being led or are we leading ourselves? Right? And I've taught
Exactly.
that to my children. They're grown adults now, but I believe that we're all leaders in our own right, and we don't need a title. We don't need to own a company to be a leader. And thank you for
Absolutely.
that
Because
call out.
Because after all, we lead ourselves first. We must do
Yes,
that before we can lead anybody else. Because they used to say something about you can lead a cow to the
to the
pasture or
water, to
whatever, but you
the,
can't
yeah.
to the water. Exactly right. So yeah, if you don't see yourself as the leader, then that's a problem. That is
Yeah.
a real problem.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I do think that, going to kind of like the title of our conversation today, that leadership is an inside job. And so to keep it on the surface, if we don't believe we're capable of leading our lives, and sometimes it's a very quiet voice, sometimes we don't even recognize it. It's underneath the surface, it's in our subconscious, right? Um, but we have to believe that we are capable of being clear, of making the right choices, of understanding that life is a game we play. If we make a mistake, it's okay. It's something we learn, right? And that we all have wisdom. We all have wisdom that we can share with others, and support others on their journey. And that starts inside of us, right? We have to build ourselves up
Yes.
as leaders. Yeah. So,
Yes, because as we know in society, we have been broken down from the womb. Okay.
yes.
Say you're not good enough. Okay. You have nothing of value to say. You know, I was the black sheep and the scapegoat. So I understand this very, very clearly. And then when you get out into the world, you're like, oh, everything is it's me. But it's not us. It's the system where we came from. It was broken to begin with.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. I'm a big believer in breaking the system. I think
Me too.
that
Me too.
yes, amen. This is what change is about. And um gosh, I don't think I would be where I am today if I didn't break my own system, right? And I want to start with that, is not necessarily that we have to break the system outside of us initially, but it has to be broken inside of us first, right? So, for example, um, going back to my life, I was, the first one to go and get a degree, right? If I didn't break that, then I wouldn't be here today. My career, when I finally landed in a place where I felt I could really grow, which was higher education, um, I stayed there for 17 years. But if I didn't hear that voice inside of me that was saying, you're built for more, there's more that you're here to do, and you're not going to do it here, I wouldn't have broken that system that says I need a corporation to support me. I need a 9 to 5 job to support me, instead of, taking the risk as entrepreneurs do, as creatives do, to believe in themselves and put their magic into the world, their healing into the world. And these are small ways that we break our own system, right? Um,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
A system in which we were born into and had to comply with in order to survive this
yes,
world that we live in. So we had to pretend many of these roles and force ourselves to conform to it. Okay.
yeah,
But
yeah.
when I found the way, I'm like, I keep asking in the back of my mind, well, how can I break out of this prison? It's a prison. First, the prison that we put ourselves in
Yes.
to keep ourselves safe. Okay. And then you want to get out, but then you go to these organizations that you want to get this job, and they give you these set of rules and stuff. And then you leave one box and you go into another.
Yes.
So then when you come home, between the job and home, you out for a few minutes. Would you call that purgatory? Whatever,
Yes.
whatever. And then when you get back home, then you got to go back into the box again.
Yes. Oh gosh, I hear you. Let's talk about safety, because this is a big one. I don't believe, let's put it this way, with the world that we live in, let's be real. We're never safe out there. We're never safe because everything's outside of our control, right? But where we're always safe is in here, right? And so I often get that question, because my platform is all about flow, about flowing through life, trusting, surrendering, recognizing that everything is not going to happen the way we want it to. And there's typically a higher reason, right? That maybe we don't see, that we're being guided to something else. But when we are able to find that sense of safety inside of us and give ourselves that power, then we can slowly get to a place where no matter what is breaking down around us, we're going to be okay, right? We're going to be okay. I a lot of the entrepreneurs and small business owners that I work with and creatives, they struggle with these things keep happening. Look at where I am today, and you know tomorrow I'll have a conversation with them, but look at what happened today. No, it doesn't matter. Things are going to happen. They're always going to happen. So how are you going to
Absolutely.
step outside of that and make a new choice, do something different, pull yourself out of that, negative energy, and make something happen for yourself and for your life that heads you in that direction of your vision. Yeah. So safety is in here. It's in here.
Yes, yes. And I tell you where my safety came from, my faith. Okay.
Yes.
I grew up in
Yes.
I grew up in a Baptist church. My father was a minister and a narcissist. And okay, and bipolar. So having to go through all of these experiences through
Wow.
life, only thing that had kept me safe was my faith that there's something greater in this
Yes.
world for me, that all of these things that I'm going through right now, they are temporary. These
Yeah.
things are lessons. And that's the way we have to look at it,
Yeah.
in order to get through it. Okay.
Excuse me. Yes. Faith is so necessary. I was having another conversation with another beautiful Substacker last week, and I was talking about, the statistics out there that are grim, especially for women leaders. Not to leave out the men, but this specific study revealed that disengagement is at an all-time high in organizations in the working world, and it's always been at an all-time high. Let's just be real. It goes up and down. It doesn't really shift very much. But one of the differences that we did see is that women leaders are more disengaged than ever, right? And and why? They are expected to do so much, be so much, hold so much for others in the workplace, but they're still the ones that lead at home, take the bulk of the responsibilities in managing their family, their children, and now they're aging parents. And it's so much responsibility and so much stress that, you know, they're going to work as a shell of who they are. And so again, you know, there's so many questions that we can ask ourselves in those moments, but one of them is, you know, what's most important? What's most important, right? And what is the role that I play as a woman leader, and perhaps as a spouse, as a mother, as a sibling, a sister, it doesn't matter, that I want to be known for, that I want to remind myself that this is what I'm really here to do, is to impact. But to get to the major point is that what is lacking right now, according to studies, and one of the reasons why we follow leaders is because, number one reason, they give us hope. It used to be trust. Now it's hope, right? But if we can't give ourselves that hope, whether it's through faith, whether it's through our daily practices that make us stronger from within, if we can't give ourselves that own hope, then as leaders, we're not going to be able to provide that hope for others. So we have to ground ourselves, yeah. Um,
Yes.
and that's part of that inside job that is our responsibility as leaders.
And I believe that's one of the reasons why you adopted these ancient wisdom
Mhm.
practices in order to help to alleviate the stress, the burnout, and all the physical and mental conditions that we endure as a result of all of this madness that's going on.
Yeah, I believe in the wisdom that has been passed down since the beginning of time. When we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have laptops, we only had nature, and nature showed us the way. This is when you plant the seeds. This is when you cultivate your farmlands. This is when the harvest is. And yet we don't work in our seasons. We push 24/7, and it's breaking us down. We're not restoring our energy. We're not restoring our faith. We're not giving ourselves the space and time we need to think, to feel, and to really pause, to decide that this is who I am, this is who I want to be, and this is how I choose to operate in this system, right? And so I find that I was called to certain wisdoms, right? Feng shui and certain practices of astrology, they do remind us of who we are. We often forget who we are because we get unraveled in the system of who we should be, but there is clear information that can support us in reminding us about who we are and reminding us of the way nature works and how we can restore ourselves through the five elements, Chinese medicine, breath work, and things like that. And so I bring all of these things in to support us in reminding us of why we're really here and who we really are, which we forget very often as leaders because of the stress and the overwhelm.
So, do you want to touch on some of these things a little bit more detail?
Sure, sure. So let me talk about the primary tool that I use, and that's at the foundation of what I do in Substack. So um, my Substack page is called the Flow Frequency Collective. My podcast is the Flow Frequency, but the collective is really just to bring together. It's primarily women, but anyone's invited. Leaders, entrepreneurs, creators who really want to fully live and be embodied in their wholeness, in who they are, and forget and stop forgetting who we are, right? For many years I forgot who I was. I just was in the game of life, and I showed up as who people wanted me to be, and that's how I lost myself, right? And we are going to have moments in our lives where we lose ourselves. And so um this collective and this community helps us to get back to our authentic embodied selves, and also reminds us of the energy at play that is supporting us in a specific season of our life. So the wisdom that I use is the oldest form of astrology. It's called 9-star key astrology, and it is based in Chinese medicine and the wisdom of the five elements, right? We also see that in the Tao Te Ching, which is a beautiful source of information. And so through looking at our astrology, I'm able to create what I call a flow roadmap for my collective, every individual, year after year. And what it shares with us is it reminds us of who we are. When we're born with certain archetypal energies that are associated with the five elements. It tells us, who we're here to be, what our purpose is, where we go to under stress, how to leverage our purpose so we can, be on a mission in life. And so we have that remembrance, but it also shares with us the energy and the season that we're in this year, right? And there are 9 different energies. So I'll go through them quickly. The first one is the energy of dreaming, right? And in the dream year, we're here to just allow ourselves to dream, to think about where we're going, and to allow ourselves to create and to play. Then we've got the energy of planting seeds, okay, which is let's start building something that is in alignment with our dream, right? And it's a slow process. It's just planting those seeds. That's the earth element. The dream is the water element. Then we've got two years back to back that are growth, and they are the wood energies. So rise, which is now those seeds that you planted, you're going to grow them, and you have the energy from the universe, from spirit, to allow you to grow those. And then we have the energy of flow. And flow is when we grow massively, but we're also kind of teetering and going, is this working? Is this not working? We're analyzing how things are going while we're growing. And then we head into the harvest, right? So the next year is the hurricane year, where we get, the good side of the hurricane and the bad side of the hurricane. The bad side of the hurricane is essentially that we're recognizing that certain things don't belong in our life anymore or in our business. And we're shedding that so that the bright side of the hurricane can bring us the new beginnings and the beginning of our harvest. Then we have our leadership year, where we reach that pinnacle of success. That's the element of metal. And it's about really choosing our boundaries, being super clear and super focused about what's most important. And then we have our celebration, joy, and beauty year, which is that. Can we celebrate everything that we've done these, 6 years prior? Can we enjoy life? Can we enjoy the beauty of life? Can we create beauty in our lives and celebrate? Find small celebrations every day. Then we have our cocoon year, where we're going within again, and there's something that needs to transmute, to change, to transform, and we're working on that transformation and giving us ourselves a lot of that time. That's the earth element. And then finally, we have the spotlight year, where we birth our new butterfly wings after the cocoon, and we're meant to shine and put ourselves out into the world in a new way and be fully self-expressed. So we go through these 9 stages of energy year after year. Each of us is in a different energy. And that's why sometimes we try to push something to happen, but it's not the year to really make that happen, right? So this tool helps us to flow according to our own personal seasons. Not only in the year, but every month we have an energy that is supporting us and helping us to flow. So one last example, in a cocoon year, I often tell people, this is really not the year to push too hard, work too hard. Yes, you're going to work. Yes, you're going to do things, but don't force yourself to overwork, because it's not going to happen. Whatever you try to build is not going to happen. Okay. Because we're meant to be in that transformation. But if we are in a spotlight month or in a rise month, then in that month, we can do a little bit more of that work. I can work a little bit harder in that month, and the energy is going to support me, right? I can be more visible in the world instead of in my cocoon that month, and the universe is going to support me, right? So this is how we find our flow. So this is a tool that is a part of my founding membership in Substack. I teach to it. I have workshops. Each individual gets their flow roadmap and works with that energy. And it's one of my, contributions to the world to help leaders flow and live authentically.
I love that. And each and every one of us here are on our own journey,
Yeah.
regardless of where we are in that journey. And so we need to be cognizant of just giving ourselves some grace. And
Yeah.
being in the flow is it's magic, as we know, right?
It sure is.
So, right, you was talking about different types of energies, but I didn't want to necessarily um, continue talking about that. What about the feng shui? Because there's certain things.
Yeah.
Kondo, whatever her name was, she made that book.
Marie
I
Kondo.
forgot her
Yeah.
name. Yeah, Marie Kondo,
You
and
know,
it's. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I mean it's such a I started learning feng shui as a teenager. I was just so called to it. By the way, the flow roadmap is also aligned with feng shui. It's the same science. So when we are energetic systems, our bodies are energy. We have our chakras, right? That inform us. That's where stuck energy gets. That's where we can get into an illness, because of that stuck energy. Our homes are the same. So in our homes, we actually have chakras. Okay. I'll show you a quick little image. Okay, so this is the chakra system of the home. Okay, and you can imagine that your
Interesting.
home is in the square. Okay, and
Okay.
so um, every section of our home represents an energy of our life, an energy of our body, an energy of our soul. And our homes are a representation of us and vice versa. So when we work with the energy of our homes, we're also manifesting what happens in our bodies and in our lives, in our careers, in the outside world. So they go hand in hand. And a lot of times when we're stuck, when we don't feel successful, we want to look at the home and what's happening in that area of the home. Okay. There's too much clutter, there's dust, the windows are down, there's no light. Um, and there are many ways to revitalize the energy, to also plant our own seeds of intention into our homes that mirror what we want to have expressed in our life, right? And so it is an absolutely beautiful practice. We work with colors, we work with energetic tools that help to clear the space. Um, you know, when things are passed down to us, furniture, those things contain energy from other people. And a lot of times that energy gets stuck in our homes and in us, and it's not our energy. So a part of feng shui is space clearing and clearing our walls, clear, especially if we're living in places that where many people have lived, you know, we're releasing
Also,
that toxic energy. Yes.
yeah, I've been doing a lot of reading about these things because there's witchcraft and everything else. But also your doorways.
Oh, yes. The doorway, we call it the mouth of chi. And that is where energy and all of the gifts of life flow through to you, right? So if your doorway, let's say you open your front door, but you have boxes behind your front door and you can't get the door open, and you do that every single day, you're bringing frustration and you're bringing closed opportunities to you instead of open opportunities, right? What does your front entryway look like? Is it dusty? Do you have broken windows? Or do you have beautiful blooming plants? Is it clean? Is it welcoming? Is there some color? Is the door and the windows, are they clean? Are they letting light in? When you're doing that, you're signaling energetically to the world, I'm ready. I'm ready for abundance. I'm ready for more. And so that's one of the things that I do as a feng shui practitioner every week. I clear my front doorway. I make sure my plants are healthy. I clean the windows. I get rid of all the dust and the leaves, and I energetically welcome in whatever needs to come to me, whatever is divinely
Do
mine.
do do you burn sage?
I do. I always have it. I burn sage all the time, every single day. Um, for me, it's very holy. It's like going to church and inhaling the incense. Sage is not only good for your energetic body because it clears the toxic energy, right? So when someone is sick and someone has a cold, you can use sage and it actually helps to get you better faster. Okay, because of it removes the negative ions in the air. So it is spiritual, but there's science behind it as to why it works. And personally, I just love the smell of it too. It helps me get focused and centered. But I do use it every single day. Yeah.
They had this wood, but I don't know. It starts with a T or something. You can get as a supplement if you don't want to use sage. I
Palo
forgot what it is,
Santo.
but
Palo Santo.
yes, yes, that's it. That's it. Start with a P. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Palo Santo is also wonderful for clearing energy. I'm not fond of the smell, which is why I don't use it too often. And it's a little more difficult to burn. It burns out really quickly. But it is also a wonderful tool that supports our energy and clearing our spaces. Yeah.
One of the things that I like listening to the various frequencies because they have healing properties like 432 hertz and the different ones. I also like the sound bowls.
Yes.
Okay.
All of these
And
things, they work on our energetic body. Excuse me. And so you want to pay attention to what makes you feel good. I play those frequency music. I have it on YouTube. I have it all day long. It just flows from one to the next. It just soothes me. I love going to sound bowl healings. I have my own healing tool right here that I use, and it's so small, but it's so powerful. So when I feel a little bit funky and I want to get aligned, you probably won't hear it, but it's extremely powerful. And you could just like I just feel my body vibrate and shift when I use it. So all of these tools are energetic tools that help us get back into alignment and clear out what we don't need in our bodies. Um, and so pay attention to what feels good to you. Try sage and see if you like it. Try Palo Santo and see if you like it. Play the music, use the sound bowls. Breath work is also revitalizing. I do a specific breath work every single morning to illuminate my field so that it's open and it's supporting others. A lot of times we don't recognize it, but that first impression that we feel from others, it's energy, right? So when I meet others, or even if I'm walking with my dog and I run into a neighbor, by clearing my energy every morning and putting out my good vibes, that's what others are going to feel from me, regardless of what I do or say, how I look at them, how I engage with them. It doesn't matter. And so that's how I take responsibility for my energy and the energy that I bring to any space, right? I don't put that responsibility onto anyone else.
exactly. I want to see if anybody has any questions. This has been an outstanding conversation. Sincerely, thank you so
Thank,
much.
thank
And
you.
see, I am an energy person. That's why I always have meetings with a person. When I saw you on the live, I don't know who you were with, but I'm like, oh, I got to reach out to her and see if we can have a private conversation first. And your energy and mine match. So I'm like, yeah, let's go live. And that's what I do. And that's how I handle each relationship now, regardless friend, business, whatever. When we first meet, I want to feel your energy and see if you're a genuine person. Because if
Yeah,
you're not, then I'm not going to even, reach a hand out to even talk to you. That's
right.
where I am today because I want to keep myself safe because I have been dealing
Mm,
with a lot of things and I don't want to, when you see a problem exists, why entertain it at all?
right.
Leave it
Amen.
where right?
Yes,
Leave it where it is because we know everything that glitters not gold. Okay.
that's right.
So so
It's our choice to see problems or not. And that
yes,
is a certain
absolutely.
energetic level. That means you're resonating at a really positive, high creative, energetic level when you don't even experience problems. Yeah. You're just not choosing to see them and they're not affecting you. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a practice in and of itself.
I just learned this, okay, because I was real naive in a lot of different ways. I was a former people pleaser, codependent, all of these things. And that's why I kept attracting all these narcissistic people. It's because I still had my mother and father wound and the narcissist, it's clear to them. They can see it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
then you automatically become a target. So once you heal these wounds, then you can identify the problem before it comes too close.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you feel it intuitively. You know it. You know it's
You
there.
do.
When you meet someone, you recognize the pattern even though you don't want to admit it. And it it takes a lot of effort, but that is the the best energetic work we can do is to recognize the patterns that we need to break, especially from childhood. And yeah, we're different people. It's a different time, different people. We don't have to operate in that way any longer.
We have to be cognizant of this, especially in today's world, because there's a lot of wolves in sheep clothing out there. Okay,
Yeah,
a lot of them.
so
Okay,
many,
and we need to
Margaret.
be cognizant. We need
Yeah.
to be
And I
cognizant
listen,
of
I'm a
that.
recovering people pleaser too. Since childhood, it's part of my archetype to want things to be beautiful and perfect, and I don't like to rock the boat. But as a leader who now consults with and teaches other leaders, we have to recognize when we are doing ourselves a disjustice, and we do have to get out of our own way. And so I've learned how to create a style of being honest and setting my boundaries without pissing anybody off. I do it in a way that feels good to me, and speak up, speak out. And but it was difficult for a very, very long time to just share my truth.
Yeah, it was very, very difficult for me too. I had two choices. I'm either going to speak up, tell the truth, or I'm going to continue to be everybody's doormat.
Right.
That I'm not going to do. There was no
Exactly.
in between. There's no
Right.
in between. Okay. And then when you stand up for yourself, then you become the victim in everybody's story. I'm gonna be the victim. I'll be the victim because I'll be misunderstood because at the end because I'll have peace. And
Yeah.
if that's the
Oh.
cost, I will take it. I will take it. Okay. Yeah. Make me the villain. I'll be the villain. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at today. Okay.
I
I want to
love
see if anybody have I want to see if anybody have any
it.
questions. Anybody have any questions for Monique Renee? Oh, okay. Campana said, as women, our choice is limited. So don't beat yourself up. Right. Don't beat yourself up because we already been beat up enough. Okay. No, no. Those days are over. Okay. Hi, Millie. How are you? Hi, Paul. Does anybody, hi, Steph. Anybody have any questions for either of us? Um, okay. We did touch on the rituals and the mindfulness. Okay. Um, For me, I use the Insight Timer,
Oh, I love
which I
Insight
love.
Timer. It's great. I use that for many.
Yes,
Millie has a question.
yes.
What do you have for getting out of a funk? So, what does the funk feel like, Millie, if you wouldn't mind sharing? What does your specific type of funk? Is it like I can't do anything, I'm stuck, I don't want to move, I just want to be still, or maybe it's lack of clarity? We all have different funks, right? And we're always, here's the thing. Let's start with we're human. We are gonna get into funks, right? And part of what has gotten us into stress and overwhelm is that we look at the funk as something bad. So the first thing we need to do is get into a place of acceptance and ask yourself the bigger questions. What am I feeling? Why might I be feeling this way? What just happened that launched me into a funk? Right? Because if your first answer is, well, I just feel tired, then give yourself a break. This is what we need to do as leaders. We're not meant to go in this hamster wheel and just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And this is what destroys us and our bodies. And this is what makes us sick. I saw so many leaders get sick, have anxiety attacks, heart attacks, get fired because they blew up. We can prevent all of these things by honoring our funks. Yeah. So I just want to acknowledge that first. Backsliding from failed experiences. You're a Reiki master. Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. And I'm going through something. Yeah. So I would invite you, Millie, to sit with the experiences, journal about the experiences, and maybe even work on your heart chakra, because it sounds like there's forgiveness that needs to happen there, self love, and some forgiveness of the self, and acceptance that it's okay that we make mistakes, right? And we can come back from those mistakes and we can learn from those mistakes. So I would do a little bit of Reiki on yourself, or get with another Reiki master, right? To support, as an energy healer myself, I always work on my energy when I'm in those funks until I feel a little bit better. And I get a lot of rest, and I go out into nature. Even if it's 5 minutes, I feel so much better, right? So we each have to find that combination for ourselves that allows us to slowly get back, right, into our vibe. I just want to mention, I'm sure some of you or many of you are um, have done human design or have heard of human design, right? But in human design, one of the things that certain styles that people have are emotional styles, right? And what that means, like, if, like, I'm a manifesting generator, but if I were an emotional manifesting generator, that's a little bit different. And that means that I go through these emotional cycles, and I have to honor the emotional cycle, right? And typically that means step away, stop what you're doing, get some rest, revitalize your energy. And then when you feel that you're out of the funk, out of that emotional cycle, it's like you're back again. You can just make that next best choice and get back into the world. So that's my invitation to you, is to support your emotional cycles. I hope that was helpful.
I just, I also want to say that, many of us, we are hormonal. Women are hormonal. So whether
Yes.
we're still having the cycle or not, it still affects us every month, as you say. So we have to take these things in consideration as well. Okay, what is the
Yes.
one thing? Because what? Because I'm retired now, and I've gone through a lot of mental, emotional turmoil during this time, and trying to sit with all of this trauma that I have experienced throughout my whole lifetime, and to be have to sit in all of these things. What is the one thing that I can do right now to change my circumstance? I always ask myself a
Yes.
question, something
Yeah.
like that. Just something so simple. What's the one thing that I can do? Sometimes it might just be turning on some music
Yeah.
and just to move around, some
Yes.
my favorite song. Maybe it's a maybe turn the TV on or YouTube to watch something on TV.
Yeah.
Okay, it could be something really, really simple. It could be going to the refrigerator, to the freezer, and eating a couple of pieces, a couple of bites of Haagen Dazs. That make me
Yeah.
feel good. I love
Yeah.
Haagen Dazs ice cream. Okay, so I can think of quite a few things to think that it'll lift me up in a second. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? It
It's a
might be
shift.
temporary, but it'll get me. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what you need. Something just to maybe drink a little Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
whatever. Something real simple, okay? Just to get you out of your circumstances. Some people
Yeah.
say go hug a tree. Some
Yes.
people say put your bare feet on the ground,
Yep.
okay? To feel the ground,
Yeah.
So it's a lot of little small things that you can do to just
Yeah.
change, just to flip the script,
And
turning a light switch on.
at the root of what you said is that you're trusting your own inner wisdom. You're not picking up the phone and asking someone else what should I do. Not that that's bad, right? But I think as
Right.
leaders, energetic leaders, that we need to trust ourselves first. And sometimes that just means to sit in silence for a few moments and ask yourself, what is it that I need right now? Your body is going to give you the answer, you know? And I love some of these comments that are here, like, yes, journaling and pets. Oh my God, my dog is my emotional like caretaker. I love her so much, and I always go to her and I hug her when I need a hug. I dump my
Yes.
bad feelings on Carl. I dump my bad feelings on a plant, and throw the plant out and get a new one. Yes, that's using nature and asking nature, take my pain and transmute it into positive energy for the earth, right? But I'm now gonna choose a new plant. Like, I love that. So yeah, find your own um, sources of wisdom and release that are going to get you out of those, shift you slightly out of those spaces.
Maybe, if you live like by yourself and you don't live far away from somewhere, maybe go out and scream to the top of your voice. Okay, I got this portable punching bag. Go in there and punch
Yes.
that. Put whoever face you want on it. Okay, and like you said, the dog. I gotta go. I have a golden retriever and a Great Pyrenees. He is huge. He weighed 100 pounds.
Oh
I
my
go
God.
grab him and give him a big hug, and he'll give me a kiss, and I'll feel so much better. It's just the little things that you can do. Okay,
Yeah,
little things.
absolutely. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I just think that there's no one answer, and no one
No.
person is a savior, for us. And I have many people that support me. I have my own coach that I hire. I am a part of different groups, whether they be mastermind groups or somatic groups I, but first and foremost, my number one job as a leader in my own life is to trust myself and to trust my intuition and work on that before I give my energy away to others, and my leadership away to others.
I can't agree with you more. I tell you, every time that I didn't follow my intuition led to my downfall.
Yeah,
Okay. So if your body tells you something, your intuition, your inner knowing tells you something, take heed. Take heed. Okay. Take heed. That's what I tell you. Okay.
I love it. I love it. Some great comments.
Okay, she has a Reiki
That
community,
is
and
a
I
great
haven't been able
start,
to connect her.
Millie. Yeah,
Yes, yes, you're an amazing person. You have amazing gifts. Reach out to the community because I know you have been very helpful to them. And if they knew that you needed somebody, I'm sure they would be there for you. Okay, that's what we have to do. We have to be there for each other and support each other through trials and tribulations because they are still going to be coming. Okay, so we need each other more than ever, right?
absolutely.
Um, yes. Hi, Shauna Ray, how are you? Anybody have any questions or additional comments? Hi, Carl. Carl said he dumped my bad feeling on, oh, he said, okay, on the plant. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's it. Whatever you got to do. You can always buy another plant. Okay.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I love what
yeah.
you wrote. I think it was this week about values versus beliefs and that dissonance that we can have between them, like that. um when we look at leadership as an inside job, that's another activity that we want to pay attention to. Are we living by our values? Do we even know clearly what our values are? And then what are our beliefs? Because if our belief systems counteract the value, then we're going to be in this state of disarray where we never trust our emotions, we never trust our decisions. And so that's part of the inside job too, is as leaders to be very clear about who we are, what's important to us, what matters. And those things help us to make decisions when we're not at our best or when we're put up against a wall and have to do something quickly. So that was a great article, Margaret. I really loved it.
Well, thank you so much, and I truly love the work that you do, and so that's why we have to continue to collaborate and have these conversations so we can help each other heal, learn, and grow. Right?
That's what it's about. We never start. What my one of my mentors, coaching mentors back in the day, said, "We're either growing or dying. That's it. We're all going to leave this world. We know that for certain, right? Death is coming in at some point, but in every single moment right now, am I choosing to grow or am I choosing to die? Which one is it, right? So,
Right.
oh,
I did want to ask you a question though about the tarot cards because
sure.
growing up in the Baptist church, they say these things are taboo and they're not supposed to be used. But as we know, a
Yep.
lot of things are used within the churches that shouldn't be used.
Sure.
So what's your
Yes.
so it's like a double standard. So what's your thoughts on
Oh,
it? And
yeah.
I personally like it because you can get a sense of, get a projection of what's happening or what's to
Yes.
come.
So I was raised in the Catholic Church. Let's start with that. I went to Catholic school
Okay.
until I could no longer go to Catholic school, which was seventh grade, because I saw that disconnect. Um, and I just didn't believe in a critical God. I believed in a God that loved all his children, no matter who they are and where they came from. And so it just didn't resonate with me anymore. So I really am a spiritual person, and I take what and many religions have a lot of the same wisdom in it if you really look at it. So I don't like to, to just pick one form of religion or spirituality. But I'm a deeply spiritual person. And do you know that the history of tarot started in the church, right? It was actually a tool, because if you look at the traditional tarot deck, it is full of religious symbols, full of religious symbols. Okay. So it started as symbology around religion, and then it grew to be kind of like a game. It was actually a game in like the Roman times. It was like a card game. And then little by little, it transformed into we use the word oracle. For some people, it sounds like Satanistic or something, but an oracle is something that gives you information. That's all it is, right? And it allows you to tune into your own intuition. So, as a tarot reader, I use it primarily to inform myself, to inform my days, inform my creativity. Sometimes I'll pull a card when I don't know what to write about on Substack, and it will give me, something. It will give me something to work with. But I do enjoy reading for others. I read for my clients, and it really brings them peace. It really helps them achieve clarity. It helps them to see things in a new way. Um, so that's how I use it. The history is fascinating. And in my opinion, something is evil if you make it evil. If you don't make it evil, it's not evil, So again, it's up to us to decide. There's good witchcraft and bad witchcraft, right? There's the light and the dark. And so we decide, are we playing with the light? I only subscribe to the light. And or
Amen.
amen, or do we subscribe to the dark? And that's your prerogative.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
I'll keep you at a
To
distance,
each
but
their own.
right, to each their own. We are. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Shauna uses oracles in her journaling. Yeah, absolutely. Channeled wisdom. That's exactly what it is. Millie, same Catholic. Yeah, right. Gotcha. Yeah, I became confirmed back in the day when I was married, and I was still very young. And um but we change, we evolve, we know when we're ready to say no to something, and when we're ready to redefine who we want to be in the world again. Yeah.
And that's the other thing. You have so many types of tarot cards to choose
Oh
from. Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah. So many. Yeah. And each of them, what I love about it is I started learning, of course, with the original tarot deck, because I believe that that's the best way to learn. But then each deck gives you new meaning to the cards. And so eventually you become more of an intuitive reader, where you pull a card and you're not seeing the traditional meaning, you're seeing something else. And if you trust your intuition, that's what the person needs to hear. So yeah, Shauna, I'm with you. I've got so many decks, I cannot even count them anymore. They're a lot of fun. They really are. Yeah. Yeah, we gotta give some away eventually.
Somebody
Excellent.
said something here. Okay, let me see. Anybody have anything else to say about it? So I just wanted to bring it up because a lot of people are ignorant because they talk about the Salem witch trials and all of
Oh
that stuff,
gosh.
and I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
No.
know, people will
You know,
easily go down a rabbit hole.
I feel that I'm a modern day medicine woman, and I believe that a lot of the women, not to say that there weren't bad witches, you know, there's always that going around, but I do believe that it was the majority of the medicine women who learned how to use nature to heal, and prayer and things like that, that made others seem like they were conjuring up something evil, you know, and it's unfortunate. I think today we're more open-minded and we recognize the gifts of nature and earth that are given to us. And you know, pharmaceuticals still come from nature, you know, everything comes from nature. So um we are here to learn how to heal ourselves and to heal the earth if we choose to believe that.
Believe it or not, how else were we going to heal ourselves? We didn't have no penicillin. We didn't have anything
Exactly.
else. We had plants. Okay, we
That's
had the earth.
right.
So why not utilize it to our advantage? And it's free. Okay,
Exactly. Exactly.
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I'm with you.
And
I'm
that's
with you.
and that's what we need to start getting back to, because every time they create a drug, then they'll say, "Oh, by the way, it'll cause diarrhea, it'll cause
Yeah.
bloating, it'll cause all this
Yeah.
other stuff." Why do I need it? I
Exactly.
just go out there like dogs. They go out there, eat a certain plant, they start
Yep.
feeling better. Boom.
I know. Isn't that miraculous? I see my dog sniffing, foraging, and among a bunch of grass, she picks out one little leaf. That's the one leaf she's looking for. It's miraculous. I just love it. So this has been such a pleasure and an honor, and it's been so fun chatting with your community. And, you know, going back to tarot, I always, you know, I support leaders and business people. And so every Monday on Substack, and it's free to everybody who follows me, I give a little weekly preview of the astrology, how it can support you, how, you know, how to kind of frame it to support yourself as a leader during the week. And then I also pull two sets of cards, a pick a card reading, so that if you want guidance, inspired guidance, intuitive guidance, I offer that as well. And so you're more than welcome to follow me there and get some of that if you're so guided to.
I'll make sure to include your links. But what I wanted to say was, the more you know about yourself, the better leader you become. You know, I
Absolutely.
know my astrology, then you got the gene keys, you know,
Yep.
I'm a manifesting generator too, you know,
Yep.
knowing your moon sign and all of these different things about yourself, then you figure out what your trigger points, who is, and all of these other things that impact your behavior and your communication style and your leadership. So the more
Yeah.
you know yourself, the better off you are.
Isn't that a beautiful thing? It really is. And when we fall out of our way, when we have all that information, we know how to bring ourselves back, right? I'm a Pisces sun. I need a lot of peace in my life. And when I overwhelm myself, I quickly remind myself, this is not who you are. Come back to who you are, right? I'm a Scorpio moon. I go deep. I love to go to the depths of things, which is why I'm a little bit of a mystic, right? And when I stay too much on the surface, then life doesn't feel as meaningful. So I have to remind myself to go deeper, right? So to your point, Margaret, we do, this is the freedom that leadership can have only when we know ourselves, and we can set those
That's
boundaries
power.
without looking back. You know, this does not honor me, this does not support me and who I am, so I'm going to say no to this, and I can say no with confidence. Yeah,
Absolutely. And that's power. That's
that's
how we
power.
take our power back.
Ab-
Okay.
yes, absolutely. Yeah. Love it.
Well, thank you so much for taking this time out your busy schedule, Monique. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I really hope that we do keep in contact, and maybe we'll have another conversation down the road. We have to.
Absolutely, we will. We most definitely will. And yeah, I'll be in touch soon so we can do it again. And thank you to everybody who showed up and participated today. It's an honor.
Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again.
Bye.